Okay, so tonight is the solstice night. And you know what's weird too? Is because like I feel like my time of day is splitting up differently. I don't know. It's like am I getting on Stella's schedule so or I don't know. It just is like I going with the flow or something and the time and it's so dark and it's so weird outside. It's I mean, it is like, I don't know, some of the times it's like 9:30 and it's still like dark in the morning. And then it'll be like 2:30 in the afternoon, it'll be getting dark. I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. Just random day, all of a sudden, it was like 4:30 and it was still light. I was like, well, that's weird. All of a sudden, throw that one in there. And then it's just been so rainy. Even when it says it's not going to rain, it's just as like this moisture just falling out of the trees. It's just so wet. My car is all wet inside. Everything smells mildewy. It's really weird. But the for my time, it seems like broken up or something. Like it will be. Like yesterday, I was really busy, but then there was a part of the day where I was thinking about earlier in the day and it was like, there's no way that is the same day. It seemed like such a big distance in the day. And I don't know if I laid down and fell asleep, but even if I lay down and fall asleep, it's like I'm only getting like 45 minutes or an hour of sleep and something jolts me awake. And I've been up, let's see, because I was so tired and I was starting to fall asleep like at 5. And as soon as I start to fall asleep, then Stella gets up like, oh, well, you know, you're going to lay down and I've got stuff I got to get done. So she starts some routine. And so I don't know. I think it was probably like 6 or something. It could have been like 6:30, but I laid down and shut my eyes and like fell asleep real quick. And then I got awakened by something. And and all of them are like this jolting awake. And some of them are weird because in the dreams, like it's so real, all the stuff that's going on. And then and then it was like I heard the neighbor's dogs barking. So then I thought, oh my God, it must still be early. Like I was super aware. I wasn't like going into a really rested sleep or something. And then I got up. I don't know if Stella wanted something. She was boiling hot. The fire was too hot or something. Like at 9. Started at 9. Then at 10, back up. And then I was like, oh my God, this is some bullshit. And so I don't know. It might have been then when I got my phone and started looking at TikToks and stuff. And then tried to go back to sleep. And it seems like I started to fall asleep and then got jolted awake. I don't know if it was by Stella or a commercial will suddenly come on every time. It is so weird. And I think that happened 2 more times in between 10 and 1. And then I just was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And so I got up. So I've been up since like 10 o'clock last night. But I'll just go back to sleep like after a little while after, I don't know, probably after this. I didn't even turn the plant lights on yet. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just be able to go back to sleep after this. Maybe there's something that is just eating at my mind that just relentlessly. Because I went and took some packages to the post office to send these little hats I had knitted my granddaughters, and I stuck a couple of other little things in it. But I found a bag of candy that would have been perfect to stick in this one. I was like, oh my gosh, damn it. And it's the stupidest thing. It's driving me so crazy. It's like, oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm so mad I didn't think of it beforehand. And everything yesterday, I didn't go all the way into town Now there is more drama starting with that girl and her situation. And but everybody is on the same page except for her, and trying to help her understand, like, you are in service. Like, if you are going to be blowing services off and thinking that you can go find better, that is crazy. And then my daughter is talking about, she was talking to the social worker, and they were both discussing, because my daughter, it works in the same kind of oh my gosh, dang. She works in the same kind of thing with families and stuff that are having problems. And she said the services are, there's no money, there's nothing. Everything is so strained, it's so overrun with people, and there's not enough to go around, because everybody is turning to the government. You know, in times of crisis, they don't turn towards themselves. They don't see through any of the stuff. They just turn towards the government. And it's, you know, it's going to backfire. It's to show them, you know, dependency is not the direction to go. Like, you got to go the other direction. So, I still feel so itchy and tingly too. And Stella is like on real edgy too. And we both did our first dose of the IVR stuff. And it was just it's kind of like a toothpaste. And so I just put a smudge on my hand and licked it off. And then I put some on a treat to her. And then there hasn't been really anything. And I don't know if anything happens the first day or it takes a couple days. And so we'll do it again today. Now, I was so nervous to do it yesterday. I was like, oh my God, if worms just start coming down to me. Like right now, I can feel this thing moving around in my face. It's like, odd. Some of these things. There was a lot of moving around in my eyes too. And so I don't know. I hope whatever this stuff does, it kills all the stuff, all the parasites and shit. And there's probably some that are microscopic. And so I did have some weird feelings inside my body after I had taken it, where I was like, oh my God, is that worms dying? Again, I don't know. I just get too much in my head or something. Or it's like, oh my God, I'm driving myself crazy. I don't know. But I did feel a lot of weird sensations and stuff. Like, oh my gosh, right now, all these tingles and itches is driving me crazy. So I don't know. I'm going to do it for today and tomorrow. And then I think like the 4th or 5th day, you got to be careful when you take the charcoal. But you got to take the charcoal because that moves the debris out. Or clove powder too, but I have a ton of charcoal. Well, I drink clove powder always in my tea, it's in my chai mixture. So, anyways, you gotta take that, and that's supposed to get rid of all of the dead stuff or whatever. So far I haven't been having anything like climbing out of me or run into the bathroom or anything like that. So, but I have been doing so much detoxing for so long. This is not my, where I just all of a sudden I'm doing it for the first time. So maybe I won't have as dramatic of an effect. I don't know. But I'm definitely keep having a lot of dizziness. A lot of dizziness and a lot of headaches. A lot of this weird tingle things, like little bugs crawling all over me. That is driving me crazy. And time is so jacked up, and I don't know. It's kind of like the perception of self or something. Everything just seems off. And then it really fucks with my head about the whole thing, how they just are constantly pulling us into flesh and blood. Because when you're pulling free from that concept, and the whole thing's just weird. It's weird how that they can affect our health. And I don't know, just when you put it all together, because we're just like light shining through with a frequency to create an image. And so we're just the image, we're like the the energy behind the image. We're like what creates the image. But the image isn't real, even though it can feel real. But that has to do with the density. That's how it has to do with like how the things are moving faster or slower. It's like moving slower so that we can feel it. And that is not just so we can feel the bad stuff. I think it's so we can feel the good stuff. There's just the other side to everything. So there's always bad that comes with good. There's nothing, you can't just have all the good. And you can't just control the universe and try and create it so that you manipulate it so that you only experience good. You have to experience, all things. And then you have to find your balance. And it's all micro, macro. So it's all an expression of itself. So, anyways, let me think what I was saying. The weather is totally funky. And then we went out, I went and took Stella for a walk, which was so weird. The whole thing was just fucking weird. And then we're standing out there and I was like, this is like a scary movie. This is like, we're in the mist. We're in that movie, The Fog or something. There is no fucking way that this is just smoke from people's chimneys. You can see it. And then this weird sun thing that comes up that is so fucking bright, which I just saw footage of somebody over by Turkey who got it. And you could clearly see that there was 2 lights. And I've seen it a bunch of different times. But see, I think that there's also some weird stuff with the movement. And I don't know, it's like nothing is going right. Everything, like, it's like everything, all the springs are springing loose or something. Like nothing is going right. So everything is falling apart. But it's like, but nothing is really real. It was like the energy, the frequency is what kept it all spinning. And then as soon as there start being things that start coming in to disrupt that frequency, it started causing it to malfunction. And things that like the Mandela effects, timeline jumping and all that stuff. It's because it's like, it's all glitching because the frequency is no longer the base frequency where it was. Everybody is starting to like look up above the sea line, like everybody was under the water and we were all, like how I see it is that we're all underwater, like when little kids are underwater and they play games underwater. It's like we were all underwater. That's all we could see. And that's all we would just accept whatever our world was. And we would all just, but there's always somebody who comes to question things, to shake things up, and to move things in a different direction. And so, a head started coming up above the water and started looking and seeing other situations, other realities, other things. It's a whole new world opens up. And so then that disrupts all of the under the water. It disrupts everybody else's view. It starts being, everybody's tapping each other and telling each other to look. It starts causing a commotion. Even if some people are too scared to come up because they've always been told you'll die, you'll suffocate. And it takes somebody to take a risk to go up above and say, hey, I'm still breathing. It's fine. And that's a whole thing too, because that is a part of the whole ascension for you to be able to see yourself as that stronger person, that nothing can hurt you. It's the weakness that people think of themselves, the weakness that they feel in themselves, and the dependency on these other people is where they use their weakness against them. Because if you don't fear anything, then you're willing to take a risk. You're willing to go outside of what is acceptable or what you're told is safe. You are willing to, whatever that edge is, you're willing to put your toe in the water and see, experience something different. But so that where all of these different heads started coming above the water started causing a commotion and creating a storm, creating people kicking their feet and trying to pull other people down, other people rushing to try and get to the top. It just is a whole bunch of different emotions, a whole bunch of different experiences, and everybody's different reaction. So it is, it's what makes a change. It's what changes everything. It's what changes people's views. It's what changes what can hold its stability. It's not the same reality can't hold its stability anymore because way too many people have seen through it. And so it is going to keep falling apart. It's going to keep fracturing because it has no, it needed us all to hold it together. And another thing too is where all these people are like, oh, don't think about it too long. You'll make it happen. All that kind of business. It is, if that were true, then why would all this be going on with Trump? There is enough people that want him to be in, and then plus he's got the whole universe on his side. Like, he's got all that stuff. Enough people want that, desire that, or focused on that. So then why doesn't it just automatically happen? Because that isn't how it works. We're not here to just control things like that. We're here to relax when we don't have control, to be able to, trust ourselves, trust God, trust the experience. It's on all different levels. It's not, everybody's not here having the same experience on the same level, or, the same kind of experience, like the same kind of soul lessons. Everybody's got all different. So, my God, the clearing with my throat. Sorry if it keeps making it really noisy. Gosh, I can't believe how, and it's still a drippy nose and stuff, and the achy. I don't ever get a temperature, but I don't ever go around. I mean, like, I'll go be around a couple people, but it's like I'm not getting close to anybody, for one thing. And when I went to the grocery store, I didn't go all the way into town. I just went to this, it wasn't the one that was right close, because there's gas stations are now turning into grocery markets. And but there's another one, and it's like, I don't know, it's way smaller, way smaller than a Walmart. It's way smaller than a Safeway or Kroger's or any of that. It's, I don't know. We've had these little small independent markets where I lived. This one is an independent one. So it's really small, and everything's prices keeps going up. Even when I went all the way to town, last week or a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't believe how much everything was all of a sudden marked up. And it cost me so much more to get this stuff. And so then I thought, well, I'm really not getting that much. I don't really need to get this or that. And so I'll just wait and get those later. And so I decided to go to the near one. And not the one right here, but the other one. And I couldn't believe, I stood there and went over my receipt. I was like, no freaking way. Like, everything is so expensive. It is, I can't believe, it's like almost $200, and you're bringing home like 5 bags of food. And that's not even counting all the stuff that I order to have it delivered. It's like, Jesus Christ, I don't know. And and I'm not making my house payment in order to have food and stuff. So it's like, you gotta make choices. And I know everybody's gotta make their own choices and stuff, but I could keep cutting corners and going down to the food bank and, being on that little game where there's like, the last few times I'd even been, there was like, no food, no food, no food. I was like, man, what is good? And then she had told me how they had cut the grant and they weren't giving him any money. And then Inslee came and he just wanted to talk about the electric cars. He didn't give a crap. And then they sent out this whole thing about um, whatever, their new census thing, and they had just done one not that long ago. And see, and I've refused to fill out these census things anymore, like the last few years. It's like, fuck them, this bullshit. When I found out that they don't track Indigenous women, that they don't even count them, I was like, that is some bullshit. I was like, that's just disgusting. And then, though, I was looking at it as like they weren't giving value to these people. Now I look at it even more corrupt than that. I mean, there's more, like, I don't know what all they're trying to track and stuff. The one I had just seen where somebody was talking about this one that was sent out by them, and it asks all sorts of information, like about how many electronics you have in your house, like all stuff that would be none of their business. And so I don't know, they're gonna want to, as far as they can push, as far as you let them, they'll keep opening your door without knocking as long as you keep letting them. And so each person needs to feel it in themselves that you're intruding. No, back the fuck up. And we've got to feel that pressure. Like, I don't need a governor up my ass. I don't need government telling me shit. And that is why it just keeps pulling. To me, it's like you got to keep pulling free from their shit. And when things are being taken, then you got to go the other direction. Not, scurry, start fighting each other for what's there. It's like, well, there's got to be other ways. Like, this is a new created society. This isn't the only way people have survived. This is new. So you just go back to basics. You go back to figure out what worked in the past. And so many people are going with the old world ways. And like, I'm seeing all sorts of people sharing depression recipes and stuff, and ways to save money, and I've seen lots of good vegetarian recipes. There's lots of people making all sorts of good food without meat. And that's one thing too, is people got to see if, I don't know how far any of this is going to go, like how long it drags out. And then this whole thing with Colorado, now all these other states are joining, and it's to show something. It's to make a show about something. I don't know what it is. It's annoying. So annoying. But whatever it is, it's, must have the way it's supposed to go. And it's supposed to teach and show something, that's supposed to work out the best way. But oh my God, I still can't get over how this just drags out. So like, oh my gosh, this has got to, like, fuck. Now it's nothing. I have seen nothing about, even when I go to try and look at debt calculator thing, weird stuff comes up. Some of the stuff that you go and look, and then weird stuff comes up. I didn't go on Google and go and search all this stuff. But I tried to look up about the market, what was going on, and everything is super old. So, I don't know. No matter what you go and look on, there's going to be manipulation. It's going to be like, some of the stuff is going to just come and hit us up from left field, because there's something going on with the BRICS nation. There's something going on with all the truckers. It was already weird stuff. Like, I could see something weird was going to go with the truckers, because there were so many of them, trucks that were getting wrecked. Because I knew there was something weird, why they keep making all this really bad weather, and it keeps fucking with all these trucks. And I'm sure the loads, the deliveries, I'm sure there's truckers going out of business. There's all sorts of things going, but all these trucks getting wrecked. And I'm sure there's some that aren't fixed from the last storms. It seems like winter just ended, and it just came right up and was going again, frozen, and all the passes and stuff will turn so bad. And so then there's been the pileups, and But I just saw where a guy said that there's all these trucking companies are laying people off. And so they're laying people off. There's a huge reduction in deliveries. Everything is to, create more chaos. And then they've got all these more people here. And are these people, like a lot of other people maybe are more planned and set for what's going to happen. And then they're hoping the Civil War goes with the people in the streets that can't get resources because they don't have homes and stuff. And so then there's going to be fights. I'm sure there will be some of that. I don't know. It's all going to keep playing out and all these like grandiose, disturbing situations, I guess. It's got to go out with a big bang, a big glory, the big glory shot or something. It's like, oh my gosh, it would be nice if it would just, some shit would just start fucking going. As soon as it seems like, oh, something good's about to happen, and it just drags out and drags out and drags out, and then more bullshit piles up, which I know a lot of times when this stuff happens, like this Colorado guy, I'm sure, he's done some bad stuff, so they got to bring him out on the stage. And then these other guys who join in, they got to get them out on the stage too. And so whatever they're going to do to try and say, oh, well, he can't be on the ballot, because the whole fucking thing, all this voting and government shit is ending too. So it's annoying how it's got to be so much about that. And so many people are still so just hanging on every little thing. Oh, and get your colors here, guys. You're going to pick blue or going to pick red. And then they're just so divided about it. But see, those are all things that people have to heal, like on a soul level. And it's big, deep stuff. This is stuff that is deep from, a long time ago where shit started. It's like it's going full circle. So it's where some of this shit started. We probably have some of the people here who started some of these religions and stuff. Probably some of these people who were a part of these religious wars. And people who were a part of rewriting the Bible or writing the story or whatever. Like, I'm sure there's people who are played big roles that are here, having something to do with all of it. Who knows how big a role there is that they're playing, but it could be big roles even in their community. It doesn't have to be completely like all national. That some of those roles can be ones that were the ones who are being defeated, and now they're playing big roles because it's going the other direction. So it just is, I don't know, it's all of like the souls going through these different like roles. And so I don't know, it's weird, kind of like the visual is like this somersaulting. Each somersault is like a different life, and just these somersaults and somersaults, it's like it's all connected. It all is getting you to some place, but they're each an independent role. They're each an independent thing, but they have some connection to the whole thing. Everything's micro macro, so it has some connection. Like each one is like a balance and counterbalance going on too, of your life roles and stuff. So anyways, I think that there's some people who are, from a long time ago playing out stuff that is going, full circle or whatever. Like, I don't know, Julius Caesar or something. It could be back playing somebody in BLM or something, you know what I mean? So it's all, different, and different people, and everybody's, it's crazy too, because people will start focusing on somebody else's story, but everybody's story has just as much value as anybody else's. Nobody's story has more value. So no matter what your story is, it has an important storyline. Even if you think, well, it's, it's nothing going on. But it's like for the whole universe, it appreciates every single storyline. So every storyline has value, and you need to like play your role the best you can and appreciate your storyline. But there was something, it seemed like it was something else I was going to say, like about the weather. It's so freaking misty and foggy, and then it makes you feel weird anyways. I just think, I don't know. Sometimes it seems like this whole reality is just busting apart. And if you're too attached to it, that you just die. And if you can stay with the flow of everything busting apart, you can keep busting apart with it. Because it's like you're busting apart too. Everything that felt real has to fall apart and become where it isn't, where you understand that it's unreal. And and then this whole thing with this slow vibration, there's a lot of downside to it because of all the pain and suffering and the dark energy. Because the dark energy that can stay at that vibration, I don't know, I would say it's the higher vibrations are like it takes more to go higher. It takes more movement. Like your vibration, it starts going higher and faster. That's why healing stuff, it makes you feel lighter. It makes you feel like it makes you feel happier. It makes you feel like you're letting go of things. It doesn't make you feel as heavy and weighted down. People don't realize how much anger and resentment and bitterness, all that stuff is such a heavy weight. That's why people who don't heal, that they just become so bitter and angry and feel so isolated and rejected. And then our society set that up too, is that create the rejection. And you know what's weird too is like right now, I just saw somebody talking about this winter solstice thing and talking about this is a period of time of rest. And like you should be in a period, like a hibernation kind of period of resting and just regrouping. It's not a time of action. But they have it in our society is very set up where it's very action oriented and people are very consumer driven. And so you have all this rushing around when nature is telling you to do the opposite. But it's kind of like they set all those kind of holidays and stuff up on purpose to conflict with our natural rhythm. Like they're always trying to keep us out of sync and out of rhythm with ourselves and out of sync and out of rhythm with nature, with harmony, with being in balance. And it takes a lot for a person to, I think a lot for people to question and to wonder, I think it's there's some questions that it just seem too big that people just don't want to think about it. Like religion was kind of like, okay, so religion, that's, it's either you're religious or you're not religious, but people didn't really want to question too much of like who they are and what they're doing here and what this place is. It's like, oh, that's kind of a heavy subject. I'll skip that one. It's like, that has been my drive. Like, these people just are like, I don't care about that. So strange. But people are going to start caring more as they wake up. I just don't understand this mental dependency so much that people had. But, I was definitely don't have that fear. So I am one, go above the water before everybody else, come down and tell everybody, hey, you can do it. You can breathe up there. And everybody's like, oh, you're weird. No, you probably just think you can breathe. You can't really breathe up there. It's like, yes, you can. You just got to go up and try. No. What if something happens? What could happen? What's the worst thing that can happen? Like, I don't know. I just think people are so caught up in fear and the illusion that something can happen to you here and it can change you or make you, the only thing that can happen here to change you is you grow and you learn and you expand. You raise your vibration so that you have more energy, so your energy is bigger and brighter. And but I don't think that, you know, everybody who's down here is like all low vibration. I think our soul is higher vibration, and this place is low vibration, and that's why it's so uncomfortable to so many people, why it feels so out of whack. And if we were really in the game and being told, you know, that what you were here for and not being lied to the whole time, I think it would just change it a lot. And, you know, like, there's a lot of things, like if we were told things differently that we wouldn't be doing, like, I think it's kind of a hard thing to watch about Christmas and stuff. And just how important it is that, like, man, some of these people where they show all the decorating in the houses, outside the houses, how much money is spent on it, how it's like, it is truly like American tradition. It's all about this consumerism and stuff. And I don't know, more, that's for sure. But I don't know, it doesn't have the same kind of substance. Oh, man, I am so freaking itchy. Oh my God. It doesn't have the same kind of substance. There's no like culture or something. It's just based on fairy tales and consumerism. And I don't know. There's just way too much. It all just drives me crazy. All these people are just constantly, you know, oh, you got to get this, you got to buy that, you got to have this, oh, you got to get this for your kids, you got to get that, and you can't live without this. It's like, man, what is up with people? Our consumerism has gotten so pervasive, so accepted. You know, people, it's just a part of life now, is buy a bunch of shit you don't need. Just buy it, spend money. Who cares how it's made or bought or who's making it or where we're getting it from. If it's on sale, it must be good. You know, it's got to be a good deal. Then just buy it because it's on sale. Our society is just so much about buy, consume. And that's going to be a big part of things are going to fall apart. I just don't know how slow, like with the truckers and stuff, like our store is going to become emptier, and it's going to make people question their consumerism and make them like reel it in. Is it going to be like an abrupt thing where all of a sudden there's not anything there, and then people are going to go through their shopping withdrawals? Is it like there's so many different things to process? So many different things that are going on, and there's so much I don't know, we're just in such a big time of change. And I just feel like there's so many people who don't look at their own stuff. They don't think about their own things, like just like not thinking about, you know, who they are, what they're doing here, what's the bigger picture. You know, that's such a like how they want to contain us in areas. There's just such a containment of people's minds, and people's minds are corralled. They just believe what they're told. They don't question things, and you got to question things. You got to question yourself. You got to question, I think, questioning everything. I don't understand I don't know, blind obedience or something. And then I'm just, I don't know, I'm just not like that. So, but, you know, there's like I said, there had to be some people that came in that were willing to take a risk, to go above the water and see that everything was going to be okay, and to tell everybody else so we could start moving in different directions. Because down under the water, it's murky. When you come up, there's options. There's things to be able to see. And you see things very, very much more clear. And you can see the people more clear. You know, people can hide and mask and pretend to be different. When you can see people clearly, they can't hide themselves. That's another thing, part of our society too, in the micro macro. Another reason how the universe works too is that it makes the people uncomfortable. You can't hide yourself. People are going to keep seeing you for who you are, and you will keep being called out. And you know, and I still don't know. Like, I still am like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm really come across as super judgmental and super bitchy, and is, you know, maybe I come across as hateful to other people. I don't know. It all depends on how people take you. And, you know, it's, for you, your own self, your intention matters. That's what you got to put in balance and see. But you can get really caught up in other people not seeing your intention, because you are putting something out for them to learn off of, but they're learning about themselves. Even if they think that they're learning about you, they're learning about themselves. And so it's weird how that works. But anyways, you know, we can't really see ourselves without having some reflection back, without like a feedback or something, without being able to see yourself. Like that whole thing on a spiritual TikTok, I don't know, it seems like it's becoming more dramatic or something. Like the guy, the Finnegan guy, I don't know what else going on his social media. It seems like he was getting attacked, and he was like, I can't believe this is how people act. And so he's getting a complete new perspective on things. He's getting a new view. And so he says he's leaving social media for a while, but then he did like a plug for his new album. I was like, this guy's not going to go anywhere. He's trying to put out music and sell albums and stuff. He's got to promote himself. He's just going to, you know, I don't know. I would think you got to go process. This is a big thing, whatever is going on. It's like drawing all these people in, where all these other people who have, you know, played a role now in this stuff. Like, people are going in and picking sides and becoming mean and hateful, and then there's other people calling out on that. Like, there's a whole thing going on, a whole big drama apparently. And I just see different videos of different people saying stuff about the drama. I still don't know who all the different players are, because I'm not in that TikTok spirituality world. And but I do think that, you know, if there's people who are all going in on that girl and trying to say she's crazy because she believes in, like, that she's going into some astral plane and meeting up with people. It's like the people who are crazy, who don't think that stuff's true. That stuff is true. She could be way more gifted than what other people understand. And especially in the spiritual community, you would think that there would be people who would be really understanding of that and see, and not just sit there and start telling people that they're crazy. It's like, but I've said all along that there's so many people who are in the spiritual community who are not expanding their spiritual aspects of themselves. All they want to do is, you know, put on the gear and call themselves by a label. Just like how, you know, religious people, you know, they just needed the label to get by. It's part of our society. They're just looking for labels. They're looking for an identifier and a new way to understand themselves. But spirituality is a real practice, and it's getting in touch with your spirit, developing your abilities, and understanding that the spiritual world is the real world. This world that we are existing in isn't real. It's like a temporary set, and it's not real. And so and that's why it's all falling apart, because it's not real, and it's going to be reset because we're going into a new experience. And that is part of the ascension, part of the evolution, the part of learning and seeing that part of life, seeing how it's temporary, seeing how it's not real, seeing how it's a part of an experience, a part of learning challenges. So it's not meant to last forever and ever. It's only meant to have certain periods of time. So, but the people who don't, like, I don't know, I just don't understand some of these spiritual people. And if they're trying to say that this girl doesn't have abilities or something, it's like, you know, all different spiritual people can have all different kind of abilities. Like, I've had people tell me, like, that I don't use telepathy. Well, how have I been using it my whole life then? I've been talking to these other beings my whole life. So how am I doing it if I'm not doing it with my mind? And oh, well, you just think you are. Well, then how do they tell me things I don't know? Like, if somebody's telling me something and they're talking to me in my head, they show me where things are. They'll tell me things. So then you get have somebody say, well, that's just coming from your DNA. It's just your DNA is reminding you. Maybe so. Your DNA is your communication to your imprint, to who you are. And if everything is stored inside of yourself and you know everything. And to me, that is kind of like your little vehicle. And in life experience, like this part that I'm playing here, that this is like the slowed down version. This is like going through a life and going slowly to watch it slowly, to experience it slowly. Because even in like the life review, you go through your life and you go through it really fast, but it doesn't seem as fast because right now we're in this slow down version. And it's weird how they get us caught up in time. And so we think that it has to do with time and stuff, but it's the way that they fracture time. It's the way that they count time. It is like a curriculum of control. So it isn't real the way that they do it, because the window of time is your space time. It's your period of time to go in and to have that experience. And your experience will go from birth to death, but it can be all different windows of time. It all depends. Not everybody is going to, like, so many people think like, oh, you just eat right, you do it right, exercise, do that, then you can live past your time. No, if your time is only for 20 years, it's only going to be for 20 years. If your time's only for 16 years, it's only going to be 16 years. If your time's for 47 years, you're just going to get 47 years. If your time's for 82, you're getting that 82. If it's for 99, you're getting 99. There's no, it's set. And so that is what, to me, when I was a kid, why it always seemed important to me to take care of yourself was like, man, you could live a long time. If you don't take care of yourself, you're like, you know, a little broken down jalopy. So I always thought it's important to take care of yourself because you don't know how much time you have. But people think if they take care of themselves, they can extend their time that they have. And that's not how it works. People just look at the time so differently. And even on a long period of time, they look at it differently. Some people look at it as a punishment to live until you get older. But you can look at it also as like an opportunity to heal, to change, so that you don't age as you get older, that you can take care of yourself and that you can live a good, healthy life. But it all has to do with healing and letting go of things, because the aging and becoming sickly and decrepit is a part of the not healing, not taking care of yourself and giving up on yourself, not seeing your own value. And so many people, like even an older person, you know, if they've been sad and, you know, discarded by their family and they're hard to get along with and nobody really likes to spend time with them because they're probably sad and feel rejected from their own childhood, and they also don't feel like they fit in. They also feel frustrated. But if they can, you know, if they could find themselves and go and start finding things that they're interested in, Like, they don't have to go and just make up with everybody. They can just go and start value themselves, and start doing things that they love, and taking good care of themselves. And they can get out of that slump. You know, part of the healing is forgiving yourself. And I think a lot of parents who age, that they've got to just go back in and forgive themselves and realize, they did the best that they could with what they had, even though their kids grew up and told them they were just the absolute failures in the world. You got to let go of that and, understand it's based on perspective. You don't find very many kids who grow up, who also have kids that grow up, who look at their parents that way. Then they can see, like, oh my gosh, I was trying and my kids think I didn't do good enough. That's just the way it is. Even if, your parents made a lot of big failures and you tried to do better, it's a whole new person, and their failures are different than what your failures. So it's just a part of the system. It's part of the game, is how we fail one another, how we fail each other, because it is a part of the acceptance and accepting others for not being perfect. When you can see, that you're not perfect, nobody's perfect. And so it helps you to be able to see things more clearly. But everybody's always looking in the wrong directions. Everybody's always looking, I don't know, they're always looking at the wrong side to me. They're never looking at the other side. They're always looking at one side. And it's the side that comes the easiest. It's the dark side. And there's just such a thing where people are so comfortable putting on a persona, being somebody they're not, and pretending to be somebody else, and not being true or not being authentic. And so many people are comfortable with not being true or being authentic, just being phony and being, because in order to be a phony, then you are not making yourself vulnerable. And so essentially you are being manipulative towards people, because you're not being your real self. You're trying to please others. You're putting on a different persona. You're doing things that are against what you naturally want to do. And so it takes a lot, just on healing, to be able to get yourself to be able to be vulnerable, to put yourself out there, to risk being judged, to, risk not having everybody like you and think that you're great. But we are moving more towards how one side of the coin was phony and artificial, and the other side is going to be authentic and pure. That's the side we're going on. That's the side everybody needs to find in themselves, their true side, who they truly are, what they're truly interested in, and participating in their life, who they truly are, when they're not just reactive in society, when they're actually present and they're going through their process and they're learning and they're growing and expanding and, becoming more present and in the moment. Then it shows you more. It shows you more who you are to yourself, but it puts more of that out into the world. So, because a lot of people, when they're reactive, their fuse is short. So they're snappy and they get mad, they get frustrated. Because a lot of people who are always doing stuff to please other people are very frustrated. They feel drained. They feel like nobody's there for them. They're always doing all this stuff. Why doesn't it make them feel better? Why don't people appreciate them? Because it's just a toxic dysfunction that you're setting up. It is not good for either person. It's not good for the person for you to always be doing things for them, and for them to be able to rely on you so that they become weak, and you think you become stronger, but you become more bitter. You become resentful, and it builds the toxic relationship, a toxic determination. But all those things are there so that you can see them, so you can notice for yourself, so you can see, that isn't good for you. It's not healthy. It's not having good relationships. Even when you think like, you're always there for somebody, you're doing all this stuff, you're always agreeing with them, you never fight, then that is not healthy because you're not being truthful, you're not being honest, you're not being vulnerable. And you don't have to be disagreeable with somebody in order to be, like if somebody's always like wants to do things and you don't want to do them, you may not even be in the same kind of vibration, the same kind of wavelength as them. But you don't have to always be, standing up. Well, I don't like that. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, I'm not going to do that. Then, you've got to look at yourself there too and see, if you are always being disruptive, never wanting to go into the flow and stuff, then you have other issues that you need to work on. It could be so many. And so many people around the holidays have a lot of triggers and they don't even realize, and they will just be like, oh my God, every Christmas I have the worst Christmas, I'm so down. And they don't even realize it started all the way back when Dad would come home drunk from Christmas parties every year. He would go to every one and come home drunk, and your mom and dad would fight, stay up all night fighting. It would lead to a lot of negative experiences and stuff. And so then you have this every holiday, just like it feels like doom and gloom, and you don't even realize it. It's like, man, everything, it just always seems like such gloom every time it comes to the holidays. Once it becomes Thanksgiving, it's just like down, and then people try and go to parties and go be around people. They try and get into the groove of it, and they're just like, what is going on? Why am I always so down? You got to go all the way back. You got to go back to where the pain and the trauma was, and you got to go through it. You got to look at it. You got to see it. You got to re-experience it to remember it, and so you can let it go, so you can look at it from an adult perspective, not from a child perspective. The child holds on to it like it's a monster under the bed. As an adult can go back and look at the past and see it differently. The hardest thing about the past healing for an adult is the shame and the guilt. And that's the stuff that you have to release, because the shame and the guilt, the things that you've done, are the hardest things to let go of. The things of looking at what other people have done, I don't think it's as hard to let go of. I think it's easier, but everybody's different. Everybody has their own, resentful meter or something. And to me, it's like a lot easier to just let go and see, like, well, I mean, people are broken. How can you expect them to do better when they're so broken? So you gotta give allowance to people for being here to grow and to heal. We got to quit putting so much pressure on each other. And I know, like, as children, because that's where the trauma all starts. And so as children, that, yeah, there's an expectation and your parents aren't going to be abusive or something like that. But that's where you got to look at it as a soul. Like, because it does go in that direction, then it shows you that that's part of the soul's journey. That's part of the lessons. That's part of what it comes in to overcome. Like I said, it's like you're dealt a hand at birth. You are dealt this hand, and then it's like that's the hand you got to play. And like I said, in the video game, you come across people through life that through the experience, it gives you more tools. So you are playing your hand and you are gathering more tools or more cards or whatever. But it is, you're playing a game, you're playing your hand, and you are gathering tools. And one thing is too, is that they just want to keep people labeled and having people feel bad about themselves and not understand that there's a good side. There are all these different things that they want to make you feel shame and feel bad about, like something's wrong with you and you need to take medicine. Really has a lot of benefits, and that they can help you to feel better, help you be more functional, help you to be able to do things that other people can't do. But, it's all in being able to look at it differently, being able to see things differently. And seeing yourself differently is important. And that is what they want to keep people from being able to do. They don't want you to have time to spend on yourself, time to be able to reflect and heal and do better. And that is what the universe is handing everybody. It's like, it's just being handed by the universe. Like, you can't get away with the same stuff that you could get away with. Everybody's going to be exposed for who they are, and everybody's going to get a different look at everybody. And, you just got to be humble. Don't be, it's like the opposite of ego. The people who are real in ego get really defensive and angry. And if you can be humble and just be like, oh, now I see that side of myself. It's something I'm going to work on. I'm going to do better. Like Jackson, he definitely had me see a side of myself like, God, I would lose my damn mind. This little dog can push me into where, I'll think, oh, I'm so patient. Well, are you? Are you? When something really pushes your patience, how patient are you? So you get an extreme view of like something that pushes all of your patience to a frazzle, then it's like, oh my gosh, I thought I was patient. Now I see a different side of myself, a side that I need to work on some more, a little tweaking, like being able to calm yourself when it's under pressure. And then on top of it, you have all of this, the earth, the intensity. Like I'm telling you, it feels so dizzy, and like the ground is moving, and the sounds, like all this stuff. I just wish it would hurry up and go. God, I don't know how much longer we have to endure this dragging. This is like dragging a dead cat. Like, this is so drug out. It's like 9 lives ago. Like, it's time to move forward. But see, it doesn't matter how many of us come together and all want that and think that and put our minds to that. We can't do anything about it. We can't change it. The only thing we can do is keep changing ourselves and keep relaxing and going, okay, it's going to be another day. We'll get through this one too. Every day, to just take it as the next day, because we don't know what each day is going to bring. I mean, I just want this shit to hurry up and get before March, obviously. Like, some days I'll feel so optimistic, like, oh yeah, it's going to go. Like, it's going to go any second. It'll be fine. And then it will drag and drag and drag. And then I'll think, oh my God, they have been dragging this for a couple years. Ugh. Well, maybe I better start making plans. Once the holidays are over by January, I guess I'll start making plans, get a camper or something. Let's go live in a camper until the banks collapse, I guess. I don't know. It's just crazy how it just drags and drags and drags. It's like, well, is it giving me more opportunities to go buy more silver? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Go buy some more silver and just keep preparing for the future? Because it's going to come, and it's going to come like, I think it'll come like out of left field, where everything will just start going. And who knows, like, a lot of this stuff is such nonsense with Trump and these ballots and this bullshit. So I'm sure it's all going to link in together in some little fine package. But oh my God, it's just aggravating. And then you go on fucking TikTok and it's aggravating. It's like, man, I don't know. I'm just social media. Even when I was going to come and do this, it's like, oh my God, do you really have anything to say? Is there anything that I have to say that anybody needs to hear? Like it just, everything feels so weird. The energy feels weird. Like, if I have anything of value to say, it's like, it almost makes you feel like you're up your own ass or something. Well, of course you do. Of course you do. Get out there and say it. It's like, yeah, but really, do you? Maybe you just need to shut up. Just sit back and let it all fall apart. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And, but that's the thing, is whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We don't have control over it. We are not making it happen. The things that you make happen are how you look at things. Like if you look at things and you always are down on yourself, you think everybody's out to get you, you're going to live a different experience than when you look at everything in a positive way and things come to you. The things that you want to experience come to you. And, you know, even on this stuff where they talk so much about manifesting, which to me is always backwards how they do it, because the stuff does just come to you. The universe just brings stuff to you. And if you need to buy it, they bring you the money. If sometimes it'll just be somebody will give you something. It can come to you in all different ways. So, I don't know. But I've always gotten things from the universe. I just tell them what I want, and then they'll just bring it to me. And I've done that for so long. That is where things get screwed up, is all these people trying to manifest money. It's like all the people's values and priorities got out of whack. And so everything is not working the way that they want it to work, because what they're trying to do isn't what it's meant to do. Like if you want things and stuff, you put it out there to the universe what you want. You don't start telling them to deliver you money so you can go buy what you want. It's like, that's not how it works. So if they bring you money, and there's another thing. What was it? I heard somebody else saying something. And because this is something I think people do all the time. And like, say you get a big check, like you get a check, like your bonus, you get a Christmas bonus, and it's, $2,000, and, you're so excited. And then you think, oh my gosh, I got $2,000 I can go spend. And then the next week you are driving and something happens, your motor falls out of your car, you get it towed in, and it's going to be exactly $2,000. And then a lot of times people look at it as like, oh my God, can't believe it, I finally get that money and look what happens, and it's just gone in an instant, and get all mad and stuff, instead of looking as like, oh my gosh, look at that. My car was going to break down. The universe just gave me that money right there ahead, have exactly what I needed, and how lucky am I? But people don't look at it that way. They always look at it from the other direction. I'm probably guilty of that too in some experiences in my life, of looking at it from the other way. But, I think that we need to be looking at it from, well, I think everybody is supposed to look at it from all different perspectives. The perspective that you're looking at it from is the perspective you're learning from. So everybody's got different ways. You can't just tell people like, well, you just have to look at it just the way I look at it. You just have to do it the way I do it. It's like everybody's got to do what they feel like they need to do. I just think it needs to be where people need to hear there's other ways of doing things. There's other ways of looking at things. Everything is just the same. It's like what they want to teach people is everybody just be the same, be compliant, do what you're told. And I think that there's a little girl, she's a little, I think she's albino, because of her hair color, because she's dark skinned, but then her skin is a different color, her hair is a different color, but I don't know for sure she's albino, but she's definitely, her pigmentation is different. And so she's very unique looking. And this video I had seen was her mom or her aunt had gotten her a doll that looked like her. So they ordered a doll that came with the same kind of coloring and hair and stuff. And the little girl saw the doll and she was just like amazed. Because, I guess she has realized that she looks different. And probably not very long, probably has some kids telling her she looks different. And it's just so weird as how much that we find shame in that, of that you're different or you look different, when really it's like you're so unique, you're so lucky to be so different, you're so unique. It's like, to me, it's like some of these people have like got the winning lottery ticket or something. They're so, because it's such a small amount of people will win the lottery. And when you see some of these people who stand out so much with their uniqueness, and it gives them such a beauty. It's so different because everybody just kind of looks the same, and then you see this person who stands out, and it's like, oh, that's so cool looking. Man, that is cool looking. So I think that that is another thing too, is what we've just got to start seeing, the uniqueness, the specialness. The numbers are so much in your favor to just be like everybody else. So, we got to give so much more appreciation when somebody who comes out real unique, like, oh my gosh, it's like I see it kind of like in the primitive times, like, oh, it's a god, it's a god, look at it, because they look so different. But really, we do need to, I think there's something special when somebody does come in and are very unique. And it definitely carries its own experience. It's a lot of experience to go through to stand out from other people. So, anyways, let me think if there was something else. When I was going on, I wasn't really seeing anything. Even when it keeps showing all these different storms, it's like, I don't even know if some of these storms are happening right now. I think that there's definitely over by New Jersey and by Florida. And then there's just going to keep being storms. I mean, there's just going to keep being storms. And until whatever happens, until things change. And I don't know. I'll just be glad when things are moving more straight ahead towards the positive part. When we move more out of the negative part and more into the positive, because this is just like, jeez, so draggy. But anyways, any of the things that affect you, got to remember that's what you're working on. That's what you're learning. And I do have a lot of things going in my mind about the house, and it's like, man, am I supposed to just sell it and just sell it to some person and just move on and go somewhere? Is that what I'm supposed to do? And it's like, because the story that came to my mind is one of those where the person said, well, I'm just waiting for my sign from God. And then God sends all these signs, and the people didn't listen to any of the signs, and goes up and says, well, where was my sign? And he said, I sent you all those different signs and you were ignoring them. Like, man, am I ignoring signs? Because I get all this stuff in the mail, these people saying they'll buy my house. I just feel like that there's all these vultures that try and swoop in to take things, especially like if people are doing bad, then all of the banker just creates more vultures. The banker goes in and like takes the money shot, and then all the vultures come in and just pick all the bones clean. So it's just a dysfunctional part of our society. And it's all, everybody's, fighting for one resource, everybody's fighting for the same plate of food. So anyways, we got to see, we can make our own food. We can grow our own food. We don't have to fight each other. I think there's a lot of things that we can expand and grow and become stronger and better as a society. And, that's the direction that we need to go, is to quit being so dependent. But if somebody is dependent, it's no shame on them. Like, it's a step down. It's like it takes years of working in a certain direction, and nothing happens just overnight. And so many people want things to just happen instantaneously. And it's the process is where you learn. The process is where you grow. So the process is necessary. It's not supposed to just be like everything instantaneously is all fixed and perfect. And, it's not supposed to be instantaneously where we're all just like, oh, well, now we can have who we want for president. Now we can have this, now we can have that. But it is a shift of like the things that we don't want leads us to receiving the things that we do want. Not wanting to be governed and stuff is going to push government out of our existence. wanting to not be screwed over by the financial system is going to push that away. Everything we don't want is going to push it away, which is going to put us into that different kind of lifestyle. So it all works together. But anyways, I feel tired. What time is it? 3:15. 3:15. But it's only been an hour and 15 minutes. But I don't know if there's anything. I don't think that there's anything else I can think of to say. Like, if there's something that somebody wants to ask, some question or something that they want me to talk more about, but I really do feel like, man, I don't. There's limitations over being able to see what is going on in the world. There is more of just like having to sit back and relax and just let it go and see what happens. And I don't know, I'm gonna start seeing more like, am I supposed to just be selling my house? Am I supposed to just sell to some, freaking vulture and just go buy a motorhome and start loading it up and just go out on a road adventure? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be out on a road adventure driving through some of these cities are going to be super dangerous. Some of these on the roads, going into some of these places, I don't know. I know there's some other women who are just out there van traveling around, and just like, man, there's like, I don't know. There's some kind of places, but everything that's going to happen is supposed to happen. You can't run from what's inevitable. You can't run from destiny. You can't change what's supposed to happen. So whatever's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And you just got to follow your instincts, follow your gut. But sometimes it's hard to see. It's hard to say. That's why it's really important to stay in touch with your guidance. Like I'm talking to them all the time. And you don't get told every little thing. They don't tell you like, oh, well, now you got to do this. Well, do that. Well, if you do this, that will happen. No, there's so many things you do, and then you got to wait. And then after the outcome, then they'll help you walk through it and help you understand, the lessons of what it is that you're learning or growing or whatever. Anyways, I don't even know if I'm making any sense. So I just feel so out of it. I feel so weird. And then this day it's just gonna be weird. I feel like it's gonna be like another 2 or 3 days in one day or something. So weird when that happens. Like I'll get up and I'll do all this stuff. I'll have all this whole day that will go on. And then like I lay down and fall asleep for 20 minutes, get up. It's like a whole new day. It's like a whole different day has started. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like everything is so weird lately. So anyways, I started downloading this. I'm just going to keep on hoping. Every weekend, it's like, oh, please let this be the weekend the banks crash. And I just can't believe how it just drags. Like, it's so weird. Like, man, these people had such control. They didn't even need to have control to have control. Like, all they needed was a computer. Just tell us, like, moving the money around. I don't know, it's wacky. So, anyways, I'll just sit here in my daily frustration, waiting for something to happen. So, anyways, I'll talk to you sometime tomorrow morning, which will seem like 3 days from now. So, anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.